everyone, it's Miss Cooperroot. I'm back. I've got my applesauce here. This is actually strawberry applesauce, so if you're hungry, I am too. Mmm, really yummy. We're going to be talking about applesauce today when we learn about Lesson 110B, Solving a Proportion. I'm going to help take you through pages 31 and 32. So have your book out, be ready, grab your book, and watch it at the exact same time that you're watching this video, because you're going to be pausing and writing things in. Pause the video, write things down, pause the video, write things down, start it again. So you should not just watch this video straight through and then say, wow, I just watched a really long video. Now I've got a lot of work to do. Pause it and do it along with me. Okay, here we are. You remember in the last video, if you haven't watched the Magic Math video, go back and watch that one first. You recall that a proportion is made up of two equivalent ratios, and we can take those right out of the ratio table. Any two rows from the table we can take out to solve the proportion. Solving it means one number is missing. Here's the problem. Has to do with applesauce. Grandma, she's making her famous applesauce. Now, this is obviously not Grandma's famous because I, bought that in the grocery store in a little container. But Grandma makes the most amazing applesauce. She's got a secret recipe. She uses the same number of bags of red apples and bags of yellow apples, but they cost different amounts. Her red apples cost $6 when she went to the store and bought them. Her yellow apples cost $14 when she went to the store and bought them. Now, we say we're going to try out her super secret recipe. Wow, my little button isn't working very well here. I got a lag. All right, well, we'll stop doing that. I used her recipe, but I made a different amount of applesauce. That's the essence of ratios. Remember when I had a certain amount of candy bars for just one teacher, but I needed multiple bags? The same thing is true when you're making more than one recipe. So we want to use the same recipe, but we just need more. So I used her recipe and I made more. I paid $35 for my yellow apples. How much did my red apples cost? Let's see what we can do. We could set up a ratio table. Here's bags. Now, notice that her red apples cost her $6 and $14 was her yellow apples. I will tell you that that is not the basic ratio. Because both are even numbers, we can divide both by 2. So I know right away I can divide each one by 2. When I do that, I could buy half as many red and half as many yellow and pay $3 for the red and $7 for the yellow. Oh, 3 and 7. I know that's a basic ratio. There's nothing else I can divide by. Let me see if my writing tool will let me write. So 3, hey, it is really letting me write, and 7. Now the basic ratio, that means one bag of red, there's the red, one bag of red cost $3, one bag of yellow cost $7. Now, look at this. This is the 6 and 14. 2 bags cost $6 and $14. We know that if we go to the store and buy twice as much of something, it generally costs us twice as much. That makes a lot of sense. So notice here, they actually wrote the linking unit. It's the number of bags. We have to fill out this table. What about 3 bags? How much would that of red apples? How much would that cost? Well, if you haven't noticed, 3 times 3 is 9. Look at that. 3 times 7 is 21. Oh, that's a rough 21 to see. There we go, 21. What about 4? 4 bags at $3 a piece. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 bags at $7 a piece. 4 times 7 is 28. Pause the video and go ahead and fill out the rest of that chart. I'll do the same. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, hopefully your chart looks like mine. Pause it again a second and double check to see if we agree. Now, then start the video again. The problem can be solved making a ratio table like this, But it could also be solved using a proportion. This is what we talked about in the last video. 6 has some relationship with 14. There they are, 6 and 14 right there. They've got a relationship. When red apples cost $6, yellow apples cost $14. And it's equal to, now that doesn't mean the dollars are equal, means the proportion is the same. It's the same ratio. Some number, and we call it C. Now, I got to tell you, I would have called that A for apples instead of C, but you can use C. Any letter, doesn't matter. In math, you can use any letter you want. I like to use letters that make sense to help me remember what they're about, but they must be talking about cost. Maybe they wanted to use C for the word cost. So the cost of the red apples compared to $35, which is the cost of the yellow. Let's take a look at here. We're looking for yellow apples that cost $35. There it is. We found it in our ratio table. Now, we've already filled it out. We already know the answer. We already know what C is. Take a look right there. It's 15, but they're wanting us to solve it not only using a ratio table, but see how that relates to solving it with a factor puzzle. So to solve the proportion, we need to find the value of C. So it says fill in the ratio table. We just did that. I slid down and my ratio table stayed there. Okay. Circle the rows that make up the problem. Yeah, we did that. What is the value of C? Well, we already talked about that. We know the value of C is 15. What is the solution to the problem? Well, the solution to the problem is $15. Remember, we always need a label. So the answer is $15. There it is. Now, that's how to use a ratio table to solve a proportion. But think way back to the beginning of the year. If factor puzzles are a mystery to you, if you're like, I don't even remember those words and I forgot how to do them, go back to lesson 1-1 and 1-2, quickly rewatch those videos and go, oh, yeah, that's right. Get that back in your head because we're coming back to it right now. Pause the video. I'm going to erase to get our thing clean and come on back. Okay, slide down a little bit. It says, you know how to solve factor puzzles. It's faster to make a factor puzzle than it is to make that whole entire ratio table. A factor puzzle is just 2 rows out of a ratio table. Doesn't even matter which 2 rows sometimes, but it's 2 rows out of a ratio table. So let's take a look. Where are the ratio table of the numbers? Look at this. They're 6 and 14. They're right across from each other. Notice that we've labeled. There's the red, there's the yellow. Super important to label your columns or your rows to help you put the numbers right. If you forget to label, likely your numbers will get in the wrong spot. That happens to me, and I know a really lot about this. So if you're just getting started, make sure to label your rows. Red, yellow. So there's the red is 6. When grandma spends $6 on red apples, she also spends $14 on yellow apples. Where in the ratio table the numbers shown? There they are. That was in row 2. So we're just going to write row 2. Where in the ratio table are the numbers to the left and the right of the factor puzzle? What about this? Where was this? Remember, and on a factor puzzle, remember we took those out of row 2. Where are 6 and 14 together? We took that out of row 2. Look at that. Now, what about this 14 and 35? What column are those in? Or what row was this 35 in? It was what row? The 5th row. So look at that. It was in the 5th row. And our factor puzzle, it's in the 5th row. Look at that. Now we just have to solve this one. We know 2 times some number gives us 14. So we know that's the 7 column. If it's in the 7 column on top, we know it's in the 7 column on the bottom. Now, 2 times something gives us 6. We know that's 3. If it's in the 3 column up here, it's in the 3 column down there. We know that the 2 numbers on the outside, we multiply 5 times 3, and that gives us 15. Look at that. We've arrived at the exact same answer. There it is. Where in the ratio table is your answer? It's right there in the missing number. Oh, I want to show you one more thing before I slide down to the next page, page 32. Take a look. Remember what numbers were on top and bottom, what columns were on top and bottom? Did anybody else notice anything? I hope you noticed. Look at right up here. The basic ratio. The basic ratio that we had, and I had to erase it because it went down my paper, was 3 and 7. What do you notice about that? That basic ratio, 3 and 7. That's the columns that they were in down below. 3 and 7. Yeah, doesn't that match up pretty slick? All right, we're going on to page 32. All right, we're back to Noreen and Tim. I don't know why our book likes Noreen and Tim so much, but they sure do. Okay, so we are going to use a factor puzzle, and in this one, we're going to connect it again to a ratio table. After this, we're just going to use factor puzzles to solve these proportion problems. So Noreen saved $20, while at the same time, Tim saved $35. Now, when I hear 20 and 35, I know that's not going to be the basic ratio because I know both of those numbers, 20 and 35, are both divisible by 5. So I know those are not the basic ratio. They're somewhere in the ratio table, but not the basic. So I'm going to divide them both by 5 and get 4 and 7. Now, I know 4 and 7 aren't divisible by anything else, but 4 and 7 are my basic ratio. Right away, as soon as I have the basic ratio, 4 and 7, I know that those are going to be the numbers for the factor puzzles, 4 and 7. The 4 column and the 7 column. See how those things match up? Okay, now let me take a different color. And let's go ahead and say this is the first time they save. Noreen saves $4. And Tim saves 7. Now, how do I know where Noreen and Tim are going to go on this? Take a look. It's the labels. You've got to label it to make sure you're in the right spot. N for Noreen, T for Tim. So every time I'm putting in Noreen's number, I've got to put it under the N for Noreen. Every time I'm putting in Tim's number, I got to put it under the T for Tim. So the first week, or the first, well, it doesn't tell if it's a week or a day. That's a lot to save in a day. We'll say it's a week. So the first week, Noreen saved $4 and Tim saved $7. The second week, now Noreen has saved $8 and he's saved $14. Pause the video, go ahead and fill out the rest of this chart, and then start back with me. I'll be right back too. Okay, I hope you filled out the chart. Pause the video and check to see if your numbers agree with my numbers there. Now, we've got our whole ratio table filled out. We already have the answers. But let's see one more time how this connects to a factor puzzle. Notice that we started out with Noreen saving $20. So we need to put that into our factor puzzle somewhere. So there's the N for Noreen. So I know that all the information about Noreen has to go in her column. They already labeled it for me. So I know that I'm going to put $20 in her column. And at the same time, while means at the same time as. So at the same time as Tim saved 35. Now I have to put the 35 right there. It has to go, oops, my lights turned off. All right, we're back to disco party. Cool. All right, Tim, there's Tim. So it has to go under the Tim because he's saving the money, and it has to go in the same row. It's connected to that 20. It happened at the same time. It's got to go in that same row. So 35 has got to go right there. Now, the other part of it, when Noreen has saved 24, how much will Tim have saved? So it tells us Noreen, what if Noreen saved 24? We have to put that in Noreen's column. There she is. There's her column. We have to put it in there, and we have to put it under her name because it happened to her. And then it says, how much? How much means unknown. We don't know. We have to figure it out. How much will Tim save? We can leave that blank because we know that that's what a factor puzzle looks like. If it helps you, you could put it like a question mark in there if you wanted, if that would help you. Then take a look at this. Notice that the 20 and 35, where does it show up on the ratio table? There it is. There's the 20 and 35. It's in the 5 row. So look at that. There's the 5 and the 5. Now, what about the 24 and something else? Where does that show up in the ratio table? There we go. 24, and there's our missing number, and that shows up in the 6 row. Do you see how those connect together? How do we figure out what's missing? Well, we could, remember, multiply what's on the outside there, 7 times 6, but we already in the table, it already shows us right there. The answer is already right there. All right, we're going to do one more together. And then the other ones you can do on your own. Make sure to check your answers. Don't not check your answers. And also, don't just look at the answers and write them in, because you don't learn anything from that. But make sure when you're done, you check your answers to see, oh, yeah, I did. Or, oh, I made a mistake, and figure out what happened. Let's read one more thing about Noreen and Tim. Noreen, she does 72 push-ups. Man, I tell you what, that girl should be an American Ninja Warrior. That is a lot of push-ups. At the same time, while means at the same time. At the same time, Tim did 32 push-ups. So she kind of smoked him on this one. So he's saving more money than she is. But holy cow, maybe the reason she's not making as much money is because she is working, getting herself buff and into shape. So she does 72 push-ups while he does 32. Here's a blank factor puzzle. Well, first of all, we know it's about Noreen and Tim. So we need to decide what part is going to be the Noreen part and what part is going to be the Tim part. It doesn't have to be on those columns, but once you decide where it's going to go, you have to follow those labels. So I decided that Noreen is going to be on this side and Tim is going to be on this side. Now, while Noreen did 72 push-ups, while Tim did 32. So she did 72. I've got to put her push-ups in the side that's hers. Now, once I put it there, I need to match up Tim's at the same time, because it says while. While she's doing that, he's doing something else. That means those two have to be on the same line as each other because they're happening at the same time. So I've got to put the 32 under Tim, and I also have to put it next to the 72. There it is, 72 and 32. And then it says, when Tim had done 12. Okay, so what are we going to put in for Noreen? We don't know. It says, how many had Noreen done? How many? We don't know. That's the empty space. So Noreen has the empty space right here. And it says, when Tim has done 12. Well, we got to put the 12 under Tim because it's Tim who's doing those 12. Now we got our factor puzzle all set up. Now, remember, you can use a multiplication chart to help you if you want to. Or if you just know your facts, you're in great shape. But if you don't, if you're puzzled, if you're stuck and you want to use a multiplication chart, go ahead and do that. Go grab a multiplication chart and say, oh, where do I find 72 and 32 at the same thing? Well, they're on the 8 row. And 8 times something gives me 34 or 32. Well, that's 4. 8 times 4 is 32. If it's in the 4 column up on the top, we know it's on the 4 column the whole way. So now there's 4 down below. What about this? 8. This is an 8. My pen isn't working quite well. This is an 8. 8 times something gives me 72. Well, 9. 8 times 9 is 72. If it's in the 9 column on the top, it's got to be in the 9 column on the bottom. Now, 4 times something gives me 12. Well, I know 4 times 3 gives me 12. So if it's in the 3 row on this side, it's got to be in the 3 row on this side. Wow, am I really having some trouble with my drawing there? And 3 times 9 is 27. Now, sorry that's so hard to read. For whatever reason, my pen just won't work very well. But 27, we figured it out. So when he does 12 push-ups, she's done 27 in that same amount of time. Good luck. Email me, chat me, come to my Math Help office hours, and we'll see you next time.